Hey everybody, Baker from Oh My Outdoors again. This time we have our kayaking and canoe trip on the Big Sable River near Ludington, Michigan. We did this trip to celebrate Trevor's bachelor party. What he requested was a wild and scenic river without very many people. Did a whole bunch of research and figured out that this was probably the one for us. So we put in on the river at Hamilton Road. This is really the first section of the river that's really paddleable. And started to do some fishing as we went along. We didn't want to paddle for too long because we put in kind of late. We started off with Neil, Trevor, and myself. And then Josh caught up with us that night. He was running a little bit behind us, so he just parked by where we were at and put his kayak in and caught up with us at our first campsite. This first stretch of river from Hamilton Road to Tyndall Road was an absolutely amazing paddle. We had a great time. For the most part, there was good flow. Some parts weren't quite as scenic because it does go through a great big swamp. But even then, there was mostly enough flow to keep us floating along. We saw some bald eagles, lots of deer, and lots of other critters too. So for this trip, we used the Onyx Hunt app for Apple and Android extensively. It shows you all the private and public land boundaries, which for these trips up north is great. It enabled us to find the spots that were Huron Manistee National Forest land, which you can camp on for free and with no permit. So we're just able to camp at any spot in the National Forest along the river that we found. Can't recommend that app enough. It has lots of different applications, so definitely check it out. So you can see some of our first camp here. Trevor and I used hammocks with mosquito netting. Neil brought a tent along. And you can't see it here because Josh was so late that he didn't get there until after dark and I couldn't film. But he also used a jungle hammock with a mosquito net on it. So at this camp we cooked dinner, relaxed, waited for Josh to show up, and got some sleep for the next day. So here you can see us the next morning. We're all packed up, ready to go, had our breakfast and whatnot. You can see Neil's using our Canoe water filter, which worked great on this trip. I don't think we got the recommended amount of water through the filter. I may have to buy a new cartridge. But we also used it in a few spots that were pretty muddy, which you're not really supposed to do. You're supposed to get out in the clear water away from the mud. So overall, I really like that filter, and it worked well for all of our drinking water needs. We didn't need anything else. We didn't have to bring any water at all, which saved a lot of weight.
Come on, Josh. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. The boat's gonna be a mess by then anyways. Don't worry, the GoPro's on. Josh, I think you've yet to make an appearance in the fails, so.
So you can see through here we get into some more of the swampy areas. It was still a good float. There's a few spots that were pretty low. You'd want to be careful if the water level was very low, but we did okay. Eventually we started getting into some log jams after Tyndall Road, which was kind of concerning because we did have a timetable to make. We were planning on making it all the way to Hamlin Lake and into Ludington. But eventually we found our next camp, set up on a ridge line, and got ready for the evening. We were very surprised at this camp because the mosquitoes were much, much, much worse than they were in our camp that was basically in the middle of the swamp. So for this evening, we set things up, got the fire going, cooked our dinner, and immediately all ran and got in our hammocks and tents to escape the mosquitoes. You can see here the remnants of our morning campfire. I'd actually broken Trevor's paddle for his canoe. So we decided to burn that up and save a little bit of weight along the way. So as we started to approach Free Soil Road, where we're going to meet Trevor's brother Trenton, the river got a lot rougher. Not faster, no whitewater. It was all log jams. And that slowed us down considerably.
Right here. Yep.
Sank a little bit.
It's better than nothing. Problem is there's two. Hold on. Alright, T-Mac. So, you having a good time?
I'm having a blast.
How many fish have we caught?
Just this one.
Let me see them real good. Alright.
After we got Trevor's brother Trenton at Free Soil Road, we continued on and the log jams just kept coming. We realized our schedule was not going to hold as we had hoped. But eventually we did get into a nice open section leading up to Schoner Road, which was pretty nice. We actually made great time going on that section. I can't speak for the rest of the river at this point, although we do plan on going back it again sometime in the future. So we ended up pulling out at Schoner Road, and we actually walked a long ways back and got Trenton's vehicle, and that was the end of our canoeing and kayaking. And we spent our last night camping off of a Forest Service trail in the National Forest. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time.